Good evening. The new year is here. Or perhaps for you, it is simply a new day, a new moment. It does not matter what the calendar says. What matters is the feeling. There is a sense of possibility that comes with a new beginning, a profound and quiet renewal. There is a kind of magic in these moments. Is there not? A rare, clean break from the noise of the past. It is a chance for all of us to do two things that we, as human beings, are uniquely gifted with the ability to do. First, to reflect on where we have been. And second, to decide where we are headed. Most of the world is simply caught in the current. They are swept along by circumstance, by the news, by the opinions of others, by the habits of their own past. They do not pause. They do not reflect. And they certainly do not decide. They simply react. They drift. But you are here, which means you are already different. You are looking for the tools to do more than drift. You are looking for the tools to design. The beauty of this moment, this new beginning, is the power it gives us over our own minds. We are given a blank page, and on this page, we get to write the story of the future. The beauty of setting goals, which is what many of us think of at a time like this, is not just in the achieving of them. That is the shallow view. That is the amateur's view. The idea that if you get the car, or the house, or the title, you will have won. No, the true value, the profound, life-altering value of setting goals is in the growth. It is in the transformation. It is in the focus they inspire. The goal is a tool. It is a mechanism for personal development. The person you must become in order to achieve a worthy goal is the true prize. The outcome is just the byproduct. Goals, when understood correctly, give you direction. And direction is one of the most powerful forces in human life. Without direction, you are simply drifting. You become a leaf in the wind, pushed by the currents of circumstance, hoping to land somewhere pleasant. A life lived without clear goals is a life left to chance. A goal is it is a declaration of intent, a signal to your own mind and to the universe that you are no longer drifting. You are now at the helm. Goals remind you that life is a journey, not a destination. This is a phrase so common it has almost lost its meaning. But let us restore its meaning tonight. If life is a journey, then most people are on that journey without a map, without a compass, and without a clear destination. They are just walking. The right goals have the power to shape not only your actions, but to fundamentally reshape your mindset. They help you prioritize. Think about that word, prioritize. It means you know what comes first. And if you know what comes first, you can make better choices. When you are faced with two paths, the path of ease and the path of discipline, your goal is the guide that tells you which path to take. The goal helps you step into the best version of yourself. Not all at once, but one small, correct choice at a time. But this begs the most important question of all. Which goal? The world is full of noise, telling you what you should want. Your neighbors, your family, the advertisements that scream at you 7, 0, 0, 0 times a day. They all have a script for you. They all have a definition of success they are more than willing to hand you. This is not about chasing someone else's idea of success. This is not about doing what is trendy or popular. That is a trap. It is a trap that has captured millions of attention people who wake up one day surrounded by the trappings of a life they were told to want and feel empty, hollow. No, this journey must be personal. It is about identifying what truly matters to you. It is about a process of deep personal excavation. You must find the silence to ask yourself, what are my deepest values? What, to me, is a good life? What do I wish to build? Who do I wish to become? And once you have that kernel of truth, you then begin the work of aligning your actions with your values. That is the definition of integrity. That is the definition of a well-designed life. Each goal you set, when it is rooted in your own values, becomes a promise to yourself. It is a declaration of what you are willing to work for and why it matters. And let us be clear about this. The process is not always easy. In fact, I can guarantee you it will not be. The gap between deciding on your goal and the achievement of that goal is called the process. And the process is filled with difficulty. It is filled with setbacks. It is filled with moments of doubt. The world will test you. Your own old habits will fight you. But it is worth it. The pursuit of a meaningful goal, a goal that is truly yours, teaches you, it forges you, it teaches you discipline, the ability to do what you need to do, when you need to do it, whether you feel like it or not. It teaches you patience, the understanding that great things are not built in a day, that seeds must have time to grow, and it teaches you resilience, the capacity to face a setback, to face a no, to face a failure, and not be destroyed by it, but to be instructed by it. When you look back on your year or on your life, it is the effort and the progress that you will remember most. It is the climb. It is the person you became during the climb. The outcomes will be enjoyed. Yes, but the pride will come from the effort. So the year ahead, this day ahead, holds endless possibilities. The goals you choose, the values you honor, will shape the story you tell about this chapter of your life. As we begin this journey together tonight, I want you to think about what you truly want and why it matters to you. Because when you set the right goals, rooted in the right values, you are not just creating a plan for the next year. You are doing something so much more profound. You are laying the foundation for the life you want to live. This is the great work. This is the great human adventure. To consciously, deliberately, and intelligently design a life of meaning, a life of purpose, and a life of fulfillment. But a foundation is not a single object. A foundation is a system. It is a structure. You cannot build a lasting monument on a single pillar. You cannot lay a foundation if you are missing the core materials. Many people fail, not for lack of effort, but for lack of a complete plan. They are all in on one part of their life, while the rest of it crumbles. They are the successful executive with a broken family. They are the healthy athlete with no financial plan. They are the wealthy tycoon with no joy. The foundation is incomplete. The structure is unstable. Tonight, we will not make that mistake. For the next hour, we are not here to talk about tricks. We are not here to talk about hacks. We are not here to find the easy way. We are here to talk about the enduring way. We are here to talk about the fundamentals. My work, my life, has been the study of these fundamentals. And what I have learned is that a truly successful, well-designed life, a life that is strong, balanced, and joyful is built upon 5 major pieces. 5, not 50, not 1, 5. These are the 5 pillars of the foundation. These are the 5 core components of a life well lived. If you get these 5 areas right, if you work on all 5 with diligence, with intelligence, and with consistency, you cannot help but build a life that is extraordinary. And if you neglect even one, if you say, 4 out of 5 is good enough, the entire structure will be weak. It will be unbalanced. It will be a source of frustration, not fulfillment. This is not a lecture for passive listening. This is a working session. I would encourage you, right now, to take out a notebook, to find a pen, because these ideas, these 5 major pieces, are not for your entertainment. They are for your application. The ideas we are about to discuss have the power to shape not only your next year, but the entire remainder of your life if you apply them. So let us begin the work. Let us examine the blueprint for this foundation. The first piece, the most important piece, the one that governs all the others, is what we call philosophy. So, the first piece, philosophy. I want you to let that word settle in your mind for a moment. Philosophy. For many, this word is intimidating. It is a word that is heavy with academia. It conjures images of dusty libraries and old men in stone halls, debating theories that have no bearing on the real world. That is what many people think. Let us be perfectly clear. That is not what we are discussing tonight. We are not here to discuss abstract theory. We are here to discuss practical, functional, life-altering truth. Your personal philosophy is not an academic exercise. It is the most practical, powerful, and influential force in your life. What is it? Then, your personal philosophy is, quite simply, the way you think. It is the sum total of what you know, what you believe, and what you have decided is true. It is the filter through which you see and interpret the world. It is, for lack of a better term, the operating system for your mind. And just like the operating system in a computer, it runs in the background. It dictates how every other program functions. It determines what is possible and what is impossible. It defines the rules. Most people, however, have never once examined the operating system they are running. They are running on default settings. They are running on programs installed by their parents, their high school teachers, their first boss, and the nightly news. And they wonder why their life is not producing the results they want. They wonder why they feel frustrated. They wonder why they feel stuck. They are trying to run a high-performance life on a broken, outdated, and unexamined operating system. I want to give you a different analogy, a more powerful one that we will return to again and again. Your personal philosophy is the sail on your boat. Now, think about this. On the great ocean of life, we are all sailors. We are all in our own vessel. And on this ocean, there are winds. These winds are constant. The winds blow on all of us. What are these winds? They are the winds of circumstance. They are the winds of change, the winds of disaster, the winds of opportunity, the winds of betrayal, the winds of economic recession, the winds of a new technology that makes your job obsolete, the winds of a global pandemic, the winds of a sudden, unexpected loss. These winds are not personal. They do not care about you. They do not care about your dreams or your goals. They simply blow. And here is the first great, painful, and liberating truth. You cannot. You will not. And you never will change the direction of the wind. How much human energy is wasted trying to change the wind? How many people stand on the deck of their boat, shaking their fist at the sky, cursing the storm? This is not fair. Why is this happening to me? It should not be this way. They are complaining about the wind. They are trying to will the wind to change. And all the while, their boat is being dashed against the rocks, or pushed aimlessly out to sea. The amateur sailor, the drifter, blames the wind, but the master sailor knows better. The master sailor knows the secret. The secret is that it is not the direction of the wind that determines your destination. It is the set of your sail. That is your philosophy. Your sail is the one thing you have complete and total control over. The wind will blow. That is a given. But how you respond to that wind, how you interpret it, how you use it, that is entirely up to you. The very same wind that blows one boat into the rocks can be harnessed by another boat to reach a glorious destination. The difference is the sail. The difference is the skill of the sailor in setting that sail. The difference is philosophy. So, now we understand what it is. It is the structure you build in your mind to process reality. This is where we must connect philosophy to a word from that transcript we reviewed. Resilience. Resilience is perhaps the most sought-after quality in the modern world. The ability to bounce back. The capacity to face adversity and not be broken by it. But people approach resilience all wrong. They think it is an action. They think it is something you do in the moment of crisis. No, that is too late. Resilience is not an action. Resilience is a result. It is the result of a strong, well-maintained, and properly set philosophy before the storm ever hits. When the storm comes, the person with a weak philosophy, a philosophy built on it, should be easy. I deserve to win. Life should be fair. Their sail is made of paper. The first gust of wind rips it to shreds. They collapse. They become a victim. They are overcome by frustration, by fear, by self-pity. When the storm comes, the person with a strong philosophy, their sail is made of strong canvas. They have built it. They have inspected it. They have mended it. Their philosophy says, this is a challenge. What can I learn? This is difficult. How can I grow stronger? This is a setback. Let me find the opportunity within it. They do not waste time cursing the wind. They get to work setting the sail. Their perspective is different. Instead of focusing solely on the problem, on the wave that is about to crash over them, their perspective is on the solution. Their perspective is on the lesson. Their perspective is on the horizon. This shift in perspective is not an accident. It is not genetic. It is trained. It is built. It is the chief function of a powerful personal philosophy. It allows you to take what is happening and reframe it. It empowers you to rewrite the narrative, not after the fact, but as it is happening. The weak philosophy says, I am failing. The strong philosophy says, I am learning. The weak philosophy says, this is the end. The strong philosophy says, this is a transition. The weak philosophy says, it is not my fault. The strong philosophy says, it is my responsibility. So, if we agree that this is the most important piece, the question becomes, how do we build this sail? If you have been running on the default settings, if you feel your sail is weak or tattered, or if you have never even realized you had a sail, where do you begin? You begin with the first pillar of a strong philosophy, self-awareness. You must know what you are working with. You must, for the first time perhaps, take a true inventory of your own mind. You must live an examined life. How do you do this? It is not complicated, but it is not easy. You do it by taking time to reflect. At the end of your day, at the end of your week, you must find the silence. Turn off the noise of the world and sit with yourself. Take out a journal, a simple, physical notebook, and ask yourself the hard questions. How did I react to stress today? When I was challenged, did I respond with courage or with fear? What patterns of thought keep showing up in my life? Am I blaming the wind? This process is about identifying the patterns. The transcript mentioned this. Are there patterns of thought or behavior that are hindering your ability to bounce back? Perhaps you tend to be overly critical of yourself. Perhaps you avoid asking for help. Perhaps you dwell endlessly on what went wrong. You cannot change a pattern you do not see. Self-awareness is the act of turning the lights on in your own mind. Most people will not do this. Why? Because it is uncomfortable. It is easier to stay busy. It is easier to watch television. It is easier to scroll through the lives of others. It is easier to do anything than to sit alone in a quiet room and face yourself. But the designer of a great life seeks out this discomfort. You must be willing to look at the patterns. You must be willing to see your own flaws, your own weak philosophies, your own default settings. That is the only way you can begin to change them. You must recognize these patterns, and then you must begin to shift them. You must replace self-limiting habits with empowering ones. Once you have self-awareness, you can move to the second pillar of building your sail, a conscious mental diet. Your philosophy, your sail, is built from the materials you feed it. Every day, if your sail is built from a diet of cable news, of social media gossip, of endless complaints from the people around you, of cheap entertainment, what kind of sail will you have? It will be weak. It will be full of holes. It will be flammable. It will not hold up to even the slightest breeze, let alone a storm. You must become a gatekeeper for your own mind. This is the year. This is the day. You decide to stop feeding your mind junk food and start a diet of healthy, powerful, reinforcing ideas. What does this mean? It means you must read. You must read the books that challenge you, the books that contain the ideas of the great minds who came before us, the books on biography, on history, on personal development, on philosophy. It means you must be careful about what you listen to. Find the lectures, the podcasts, the audio programs that build you up, that give you new ideas, that reinforce your commitment to growth. Turn your car into a university. And most critically, it means you must reevaluate your associations, the people you spend time with. We talked about this. You are the average of the 5 people you associate with most. Are your conversations pulling you up or dragging you down? Are you talking about ideas and opportunities? Or are you talking about other people and problems? You must be ruthless in protecting your mind from negative, cynical, and limiting inputs. Every conversation you have is either mending your sail or tearing a new hole in it. Building a strong philosophy is an active process. It is the work of finding the best ideas and working them into the fabric of your mind, day after day, until they become your default setting. Until the empowering thought is more natural than the disempowering one. This is the work. This is how you build the sail. Through self-awareness and a conscious mental diet. And now we come to the most important part. This is the bridge. This is how this first major piece, philosophy, connects to all the others. You can have the strongest sail in the world, made of the finest materials. But if you leave it in the bag, you are still dead in the water. Your philosophy is not just something you have. It is something you use. Your philosophy determines your attitude. This is the second major piece we will discuss. Your attitude is your emotional state. It is how you feel about your life, about your past, about your future. If your philosophy, your sail, is strong, if you know you can handle the wind, what does that do to your attitude? It gives you confidence. It gives you hope. It gives you a sense of calm, even in the storm. If your philosophy is weak, if your sail is tattered, what is your attitude? You are terrified. You are anxious. You are cynical. You are angry. You are waiting for the next bad thing to happen. Your attitude is a direct reflection of the confidence you have in your philosophy. Your philosophy determines your activity. This is the third major piece. Activity is the work you do, the disciplines you practice. Your philosophy is what tells you which activities are important. Why does one person spend their evening practicing a new skill, while another spends it on the couch? It is not a matter of energy. It is a matter of philosophy. One philosophy says, the work is done for the day. I deserve to rest. The other philosophy says, the future is built on the disciplines I practice today. One philosophy says, I will prioritize my health tomorrow. The other philosophy says, the body is the vessel for the mind. I must care for it today, or I will have nowhere to live. Your philosophy is the why behind your what, without a strong philosophical why. Your discipline, your activity, will always fade. Your philosophy determines your results. This is the fourth major piece. Results are the harvest you reap from your activity. This is the great law, the law of sowing and reaping. It is a philosophical concept. If you understand this philosophy, you are never surprised by your results. You expect them. If you sow the seeds of discipline and hard work, activity, guided by a strong philosophy, you will reap the harvest of success, results. If you sow the seeds of neglect and complaint, you will reap the harvest of failure and frustration. Your results in life, your bank account, your health, the quality of your relationships, they are not accidents. They are a printout. They are a mirror reflecting your philosophy back to you. If you do not like your results, you must not argue with the results. You must go all the way back to the beginning. You must change the philosophy. And finally, your philosophy determines your lifestyle. This is the fifth major piece. Lifestyle is the art of living, the joy, the balance, the fulfillment you derive from the results you have created. Your philosophy dictates what you do with your success. One philosophy says, he who dies with the most toys wins. That is a lifestyle of endless accumulation. Another philosophy says, success is not just about what you get, but about what you become and what you give. That is a lifestyle of meaning, of contribution, of legacy. Your philosophy on relationships, on gratitude, on service, on joy. This is what creates the quality of your life, long after the quantity of your success has been established. So you see, it all starts here. It is not an academic game. It is the foundation of everything. Your health, your relationships, your finances, your joy, your resilience, all of it. It all comes back to the way you think. It all comes back to the set of your sail. So, as we prepare to move to the second major piece, I ask you to commit to this. Commit to becoming a master sailor. Commit to living an examined life. Commit to building a sail of the strongest possible materials. This is the work. This is the foundation. This is philosophy. We have laid the foundation. We have established together that the first, the most critical, the most powerful of the 5 major pieces is your philosophy. We have defined it. It is your operating system. It is the way you think. It is the sum total of what you have decided is true. And we have used the most powerful analogy we have. Your philosophy is the set of your sail. It is the structure you build in your mind to harness the winds of circumstance, winds you cannot change, and to guide your vessel toward a chosen destination. But now we must ask a critical question. What good is the finest sail? What good is the most brilliant, perfectly engineered, and tear-proof canvas if there is no wind? And what good is a sail if the sailor has no desire to man the helm? This brings us to the second major piece of life. And this piece, my friends, is attitude. If philosophy is the way you think, attitude is the way you feel. If philosophy is the logic, attitude is the emotion. If philosophy is the map, attitude is the desire to make the journey. If philosophy is the set of the sail, attitude is the very spirit of the sailor. You see, these 2 pieces are inextricably linked. They are parent and child. Your philosophy, what you think, is the parent of your attitude, how you feel. This is a breakthrough concept for many. People walk around all day trying to fix their attitude. They try to be positive. They try to look on the bright side. They try to force a smile, but their philosophy is broken. Their philosophy says, the world is against me, life is unfair, and nothing will ever work out. They are trying to paint a smile on a face that is rooted in a philosophy of despair. It cannot be done. It is a lie, and it will not last. You cannot have a powerful, positive, and enduring attitude with a weak, negative, and unexamined philosophy. The moment the first storm hits, that positive attitude will be revealed as a fragile mask. But when you have done the work, when you have built your sail, your philosophy, when you know in your core that you are capable of meeting the wind, that you can learn from any setback, that every challenge is a lesson, an entirely new feeling emerges. That feeling is a genuine attitude. It is not forced. It is not fragile. It is the natural, emotional byproduct of a strong philosophy. It is the feeling of confidence. It is the feeling of calm. It is the feeling of gratitude. It is the feeling of faith. Attitude is the color of the mind. It is the spectrum of feeling that radiates from your internal thoughts, and it colors every single part of your life. It is the fuel for everything you do. Let us examine this fuel. Where does it come from? How do we cultivate it? We can divide our attitude into 3 primary dimensions. First, our attitude about the past. Second, our attitude about the future. And third, and perhaps most critically, our attitude about the present, which is defined by our attitude toward ourselves and everyone around us. Let us begin with the past. For so many people, the past is not a place of learning. It is a place of residence. They live there. They have packed their bags and moved into their own history of failures and regrets. For them, the past is an anchor. It is a massive, heavy weight they drag behind their ship every single day. They cannot build speed. They cannot change direction. They are held captive by what happened yesterday, or last year, or 20 years ago. The wind is at their back. The sun is on the horizon. But they cannot move because they are anchored to a grievance. They are anchored to a failure. They are anchored to an old hurt. And their attitude reflects this. Their attitude is heavy. It is cynical. It is bitter. They see the world through the filter of what went wrong. The strong philosophy, the sail we built in part 1, gives us the power to reframe the past. A strong philosophy looks at that same history and declares, this was not a prison. This was a school. This is the shift. This is the birthplace of a powerful attitude. The past is a classroom. It is the curriculum you were given to learn the lessons you needed to learn. Failure was not a verdict. Failure was a lesson in resilience. A heartbreak was not an end. It was a lesson in self-worth. A financial loss was not a punishment. It was a lesson in humility and strategy. When you adopt the philosophy that the past was your teacher, your attitude can no longer be one of bitterness. It must become one of gratitude. Gratitude is not a passive thank you. It is an active, powerful, Attitudinal discipline. It is the choice to find the lesson, to find the value in everything that has happened. I will tell you, holding on to anger, to resentment, to a grudge, it is a profound waste of precious energy. It is like drinking poison and expecting the other person to be harmed. It is an attitudinal sickness. This year, you must decide, will the past be your anchor, or will it be your school? Will you allow it to be a source of bitterness, or will you choose to make it a source of gratitude? This choice is the first step in managing your attitude. You must cut the anchor, and the act of cutting the anchor is called forgiveness. Forgiveness does not mean condoning harmful behavior. It means freeing yourself from the burden. It is an act of attitudinal self-preservation. It is you deciding, my future is more important than my past. My energy is more valuable than this grievance. When you have done this, when you have made peace with the past, you are free to turn your attention to the second dimension, your attitude about the future. If the past is the anchor, the future is the magnet. It is the great force pulling you forward. But what is the dominant feeling most people have about the future? For the vast majority, the feeling is not faith. It is not excitement. It is fear. It is anxiety. It is worry. Why? Because they are drifting. They are running on that default philosophy. They have no map. They have no destination. They have not set their sail. And when you are drifting on a vast ocean, the future is terrifying. Any wind is a threat. Any cloud on the horizon is a sign of doom. This is where the goals we spoke of in our introduction become so powerful. A clear, well-defined goal. Born of your philosophy, it is the antidote to fear. When you have a destination, your attitude about the future changes. It is no longer a void to be feared, but a place to be reached. Your attitude shifts from one of fear to one of faith. Now, faith is a strong word. I do not mean blind faith. I do not mean sitting on your couch and hoping things will work out. That is not faith. That is delusion. The attitude of faith I am describing is earned. It is the emotional result of a deep, philosophical trust in the process. It is the farmer's faith. The farmer who has studied the soil, philosophy, and who plants the seed, activity, has a profound faith that the harvest will come. Results. He does not run out to the field every 2 hours and dig up the seed to see if it is working. He trusts the law. He trusts the process. Your attitude about the future must be this farmer's faith. When you have your philosophy, and you know what activities you must perform, you can develop an attitude of calm, confident expectation. You know the harvest will come. This attitude of faith allows you to weather the in-between time. The time between when you plant the seed and when you see the sprout. This in-between time is where most people fail. Their attitude of fear and doubt convinces them to quit. It is not working. It is taking too long. But the person with a strong philosophy and an attitude of faith, they just keep watering the seed. They keep doing the work. Their attitude is stable. Because it is not based on seeing the result, it is based on knowing the law. So, you have made peace with the past through gratitude. You are facing the future with faith. Now we come to the present. We come to today. This is the third dimension. And it is the one that truly defines your daily experience. This is your attitude toward yourself and toward others. This is where your attitude becomes communication. This is one of the most misunderstood concepts in all of personal development. People think communication is about words. They think it is about technique. They think it is about body language. No, those are just the tools. True communication is attitude. It is the nonverbal, emotional, energetic message you are broadcasting to the world every single second. It is the feeling you give other people. You can have the most perfect words, the most eloquent speech, but if your attitude is one of arrogance, or of disrespect, or of impatience, what is the real message you are sending? The other person will not remember your words. They will remember how you made them feel. Let us explore this. It begins with your attitude toward yourself. Self-awareness and self-compassion are the roots of all healthy relationships. If your internal attitude is one of self-criticism, if you are constantly berating yourself, how can you possibly project an attitude of warmth and acceptance to others? You cannot. The world is a great mirror. The attitude you have toward yourself is the one you will project onto others. If you are critical of yourself, you will be critical of your colleagues. If you are impatient with yourself, you will be impatient with your family. But when you nurture your inner world, when you treat yourself with a firm but compassionate discipline, you show up more authentically and positively in all your connections. This brings us to the great skill of empathy. Empathy is not a technique. Empathy is an attitude. It is the attitudinal choice to say, your perspective is as valid to you as mine is to me, and I want to understand it. Most people do not communicate with an attitude of empathy. They communicate with an attitude of ego. Their goal is not to understand. Their goal is to be right. Their goal is to win the argument. Their goal is simply to wait for the other person to stop talking so they can say what they were planning to say all along. This is the source of almost all human conflict. It is not the disagreement that causes the conflict. Disagreement is healthy. It is how ideas are refined. It is the attitude that causes the conflict. It is the feeling of being dismissed, of being ignored, of not being heard. When you make the shift to an attitude of empathy, everything changes. And the primary action of an empathetic attitude is listening. Not passive hearing, not waiting for your turn, but deep, active, intentional listening. It means when you are with someone, you are with them. You put away the distractions. You give them your undivided attention. You listen not just to their words, but to the emotions behind the words. You listen for what is not being said. This kind of presence, this kind of listening is a gift. It is one of the most powerful ways to build trust and deepen a relationship because it communicates value. It communicates respect. Your attitude of listening tells the other person, you matter. And when people feel that from you, they will move mountains for you. This attitude extends to every interaction. It is in the small acts of kindness, a thoughtful note, an unexpected favor, simply showing appreciation. These are not random acts. They are the result of an attitude of gratitude and connection. And now we must discuss the maintenance of this attitude. Because you can do all this work, you can make peace with your past. You can face the new future with faith. You can practice empathy, and then you can walk into an environment that will tear it all down in 10 minutes. This is the final, crucial piece of managing your attitude. Association. Your attitude is living. It is sensitive. It is like a living organism, and it is profoundly influenced by its environment. You must be a guardian of your attitude. This means you must be a guardian of your associations. You have heard the saying, you are the average of the 5 people you spend the most time with. This is not a casual idea. It is a law. You cannot maintain a positive, growth-oriented, empathetic attitude if you are spending all your time with negative, cynical, complaining people. It is impossible. You will be pulled down. Their attitudinal pollution will infect you. You must do an audit. Look at your primary associations. Are these people vitamins or are these people poisons? Are your conversations uplifting? Are you talking about ideas, about goals, about the future? Or are your conversations draining? Are you talking about other people, about the news, about the good old days, about what is wrong with the world? You have a choice. This is not about arrogance. It is not about being better than anyone. It is about attitudinal hygiene. It is about protecting your own mind, protecting your own sail, philosophy, and protecting your own fuel, attitude, so that you can actually make the journey. You must seek out people who inspire you, who challenge you, who reflect the attitude you wish to cultivate. This may mean spending less time with some people. That is a hard choice. But the designer of a great life must make the hard choices. So, let us bring this all together. We have built our sail, philosophy. We have now cultivated the spirit of the sailor. Attitude. We have an attitude of gratitude for the past, seeing it as our school. We have an attitude of faith for the future, seeing it as our destination. And we have an attitude of empathy and connection for the present, which guides our communication and our relationships. And we have a plan for association. To protect this precious fuel, we now have a brilliant map. We have a full tank of fuel. The sailor is inspired, confident, and ready. We have everything we need, except for one final thing. We are still in the harbor. You can have the greatest philosophy in the world. You can have the most powerful, positive, or an inspiring attitude ever cultivated. But if you do not act, if you do not hoist the sail, if you do not turn the key, if you do not take the first step, your life will not change. Because the world does not pay for philosophy. And the world does not pay for attitude. The world pays for what you do. It pays for the value you create. And that is the bridge to our third major peace activity. We have done the essential groundwork. We have stood on the high intellectual ground of philosophy. We have established our why. We have built the sail, the map, the operating system that governs our thoughts and allows us to see the world not as a victim, but as a sailor. We have then submerged ourselves into the deep, emotional waters of attitude. We have understood that our philosophy is the parent of our feelings. We have cultivated an attitude of gratitude for the past, an attitude of faith for the future, and an attitude of empathy for the present. We are ready. We have the finest map. We have the most beautiful, tear-proof sail. We have a full tank of emotional fuel. The sailor is inspired. The sailor is confident. The sailor is ready. And so we find ourselves in the harbor. The ship is perfect. The spirit is willing. The sun is rising. And this is where 90% of the world remains. They remain in the harbor of good intentions. They are docked in the port of someday. They live their entire lives in the planning phase. Polishing the map. Mending the sail. Checking the fuel, but never, ever, hoisting the anchor. Why? Because they are missing the third, and perhaps most difficult, of the 5 major pieces of life. Activity. This is the piece. This is the one. This is the great separator. This is the piece that divides the dreamer from the achiever. This is the piece that divides the amateur from the professional. This is the piece that divides the life of idle wishing from the life of dynamic reality. You must understand this. The world, the marketplace, the universe, it does not pay you for your philosophy. You cannot take your philosophy to the grocery store and buy bread. The world does not pay you for your attitude. You cannot pay your mortgage with your good intentions or your positive feelings. The world pays for one thing, and one thing only, value. And value is not created by thought. Value is not created by feeling. Value is created by activity. Value is the result of work. This is the great work. This is the labor. This is the doing. And the central, non-negotiable, guiding word for this entire piece is discipline. Now, this word, like philosophy, makes people uncomfortable. Discipline, it sounds harsh. It sounds like punishment. It sounds like restriction. It sounds like a denial of freedom. I am telling you this is a lie. This is the default philosophy that has been sold to you to keep you average. Discipline is not punishment. Discipline is the price of genius. Discipline is not restriction. Discipline is the gateway to true freedom. Discipline is not the denial of self. Discipline is the highest form of self-love. Discipline is the act of choosing what you want most over what you want now. It is the act of loving your future self enough to do the hard thing today. The most famous definition, and the truest, is this. Discipline is the bridge between goals and accomplishment. It is the concrete. It is the steel. It is the labor. It is the process of building that bridge. Brick by brick, day after day, in the rain, in the sun, when you feel like it. And most importantly, when you do not feel like it. Everyone in this room has goals. We established that, but the goal is just the idea. The philosophy is the blueprint for the bridge. The attitude is the desire to cross it. But the discipline, the activity, is the building. And you must build. Now, let us talk about pain, because this is where people get lost. They say, discipline is hard. It is painful. You are correct. There is a pain to it. It is the pain of pushing yourself, the pain of the alarm clock in the morning, the pain of saying no to the easy distraction, the pain of the last repetition in the gym, the pain of making the call you are afraid to make. But I am here to tell you, you must choose. We all must choose between one of two pains. You must choose either the pain of discipline or the pain of regret. And the difference is this. The pain of discipline weighs ounces. The pain of regret weighs tons. The pain of discipline is temporary. It is the investment. The pain of regret is permanent. It is the endless, nagging, heavy cost of what could have been. It is the pain of looking back on your life, on your potential, on the dreams you had in the harbor, and knowing you never once hoisted the sail. You will choose a pain. The only question is which one. So, how do we engage in this activity? How do we practice this discipline? It begins with understanding that all activity is not created equal. There are ace activities that matter, and there are activities that are just busyness. Most people are busy. They are rushing. They are stressed. They are slammed. But they are not productive. They are spinning their wheels in the harbor. The activity we are talking about is disciplined activity toward a valued goal. It is intention in motion. And this brings us to the first and most foundational battleground for activity. It is the one place where you can prove every single day whether you are serious about your philosophy or not. And that is the discipline of caring for the vessel. This is where we must integrate the lessons from that transcript we reviewed earlier. The subject of health. This is the perfect, the ultimate, the non-negotiable example of philosophy. Attitude and activity working together or failing together. What is the common philosophy of health? I know I should eat better. I should exercise. I should get more sleep. What is the attitude? It is too hard. I have no time. I will start Monday. It is just my genetics. I do not feel like it. And so what is the activity? Nothing. And then what is the result? Low energy, brain fog, sickness, despair. And then people wonder why they cannot achieve their grand financial goals or their relationship goals. They're trying to build a mansion on a foundation of mud. You must listen to me. Your body, your physical and mental well-being is the foundation for every other activity in your life. Your energy is your capacity. You cannot build a business. You cannot be an amazing parent. You cannot write a book. You cannot serve your community if you do not have the simple physical energy to execute. You can have the greatest philosophy, but if you are too tired to practice it, what good is it? You can have the most wonderful attitude, but if your body is sick, how long can you sustain it? This year, this day, you must make your health a non-negotiable focus, not a luxury, not an if I have time. It becomes the first activity. It is the foundational discipline from which all other disciplines are born. So what does this activity of health look like? It is not about drastic, overwhelming, revolutionary changes. Those never last. They are a failure of philosophy. No, the activity of health is about small, consistent, sustainable disciplines. Let us start with the first, the discipline of sleep. We live in a modern world that glorifies hustle. It glorifies burning the candle at both ends. It wears exhaustion as a badge of honor. I only got 4 hours of sleep last night. This is a broken philosophy. It is a philosophy of fools. Science, data, and human experience have proven consistently that adequate sleep is essential. It is not optional. It is the mechanism by which your body and mind repair. When you are sleep deprived, what happens to your attitude? You are irritable. You are impatient. When you are sleep deprived, what happens to your philosophy? You cannot think clearly. You cannot solve problems. You cannot see opportunity. You can only see problems. The discipline of sleep is the simple activity of establishing a routine. It is the activity of setting a shutdown time. It is the discipline of respecting your body's need to recharge so that you can be a high performer tomorrow. This is not passive. This is an active choice. It is the activity of saying no to one more episode. No to one more hour of scrolling because you are saying yes to energy and clarity tomorrow. Second, the discipline of nutrition. This, again, is not about restrictive diets or chasing perfection. That is a philosophy of extremism. This is about a simple philosophy. My body is the engine. I must give it fuel. The discipline of nutrition is the simple activity of awareness. It is the activity of paying attention to how food makes you feel. Does this food give me energy? Or does it make me sluggish? Does this meal nourish my mind? Or does it leave me unfulfilled and foggy? The activity is making one more conscious choice. The activity is preparing one more meal at home. The activity is choosing the water over the soda. It is not about deprivation. It is about intention. It is the activity of fueling your body to support your goals, not to sabotage them. Third, the discipline of movement. Your body was not designed to sit in a chair for 14 hours a day. It was designed to move. The activity of movement is vital, not just for your body, but for your mind. Exercise releases endorphins. It reduces stress. It boosts your mood. It creates a ripple effect of positive attitude across every single area of your life. And again, the philosophy here is consistency, not intensity. This is not a call to become a marathon runner tomorrow. That is the kind of thinking that causes people to quit. This is a call to move. Can you find 20 minutes? Can you take a walk? The discipline is not in the intensity of the workout. The discipline is in the consistency of showing up. It is the activity of putting on your shoes when your attitude is screaming. Stay on the couch. It is the activity of doing it anyway. Because that is how you build the muscle of discipline. You do not just build your body, you build your will. And when you can win that one battle, the battle of the 20-minute walk, you can win the next battle. And the next, sleep, nutrition, movement. These are not health goals. These are the foundational activities of a high performer. This is the discipline of self-respect. Your body and your mind are the tools that allow you to pursue every other goal in your life. Treating them well is not a luxury. It is the primary necessity. We have been talking for some time. We have discussed the philosophy of action. We have discussed the discipline of health. We have talked about the work. You have been listening, but listening is a passive activity. We are now in the heart of the third major piece. We are in the section on activity, and it would be a failure of my own philosophy to talk to you about action without giving you an action to take. We have reached the midpoint of our journey together. We have covered philosophy and attitude. We are deep in the work of activity, and we still have results and lifestyle to explore. If these ideas, if this structure is resonating with you, if you are feeling a shift, if you are a person who is tired of living in the harbor and you are ready to build the bridge, then I invite you to take your first simple physical act of discipline. Right now, below this video, there is a button. It says subscribe. Now, this is a simple click, but let us not treat it as a simple click. Let us treat it as a declaration. When you click that button, you are not just subscribing to a channel. That is the shallow view. You are subscribing to a philosophy. You are subscribing to a new attitude. You are making a commitment to the activity of personal development. You are raising your hand and saying, I am no longer a drifter. I am a designer. You are saying, I am committed to working on myself. This is your community. This is the work we do. So, if you are serious, take that action. Make that declaration. You have taken an action. You have proven the principle. Now let us get back to the work. We have established the foundational activity of health, but the principle of discipline extends to everything. What about the discipline of your mind? We built our philosophy by choosing our mental diet, but now we must engage in the activity of maintaining it. This is the discipline of reading, not just when you are inspired, but on a schedule. This is the discipline of study, of taking notes, of thinking on paper. Your mind is a muscle. If you do not use it, you will lose it. The activity of thinking, of learning, of solving problems. This is the work that keeps your philosophy sharp and your attitude strong. What about the discipline of your relationships? We talked about the attitude of empathy, but what is the activity? The activity is being fully present. The activity is putting your phone away when your child is talking to you. The activity is scheduling time for your partner. The activity is the work of listening, the work of setting boundaries, the work of communicating clearly. Relationships do not survive on attitude alone. They are like gardens. They require the constant, disciplined activity of care, tension, and cultivation. What about the discipline of your finances? This is a major one. It is a place of great pain for many. The philosophy is, I want to be financially free. The attitude is, I am afraid of money, or I am hopeful about money. But what is the activity? For most, the activity is chaos. The activity is avoidance. The discipline of finances is the activity of tracking, the activity of budgeting, the activity of saving. A budget is not a restriction. A budget is a plan. It is the activity of telling your money where to go, instead of wondering where it went. This is a discipline. It is the simple, mundane, unexciting activity of sitting down once a week and knowing the numbers. This is the work. Now, why? Why is all of this so hard? Why do we know we should do these things and not do them? We have an enemy, the enemy of activity, and its name is comfort. We are biologically wired to seek comfort, to conserve energy. Your brain is designed to protect you from the pain of discipline. It will give you 1,000 wonderful, logical-sounding excuses not to do the work. You are too tired. You deserve a break. It is not that important. You can start tomorrow, and tomorrow becomes next week, becomes next month, becomes never. So, how do we defeat this enemy? How do we do the activity when every part of us wants to stay in the harbor? You do it by starting small. This is the secret. You do not build the entire bridge in one day. You do not run the marathon on day one. You do not win the war. You just win the first. Small battle. You want to read? Do not try to read the whole book. That is the philosophy of failure. The discipline is one page. Can you read one page? Yes. And by doing so, you have broken the spell of inactivity. You want to get healthy? Do not try to change your entire diet. The discipline is one glass of water. You want to write a book? Do not stare at the blank page. The discipline is one sentence. The discipline is not in the size of the act. The discipline is in the consistency of the act. Because what happens when you do it? You are building a new pattern. You are compounding your disciplines. One page becomes 10, becomes a chapter, becomes a book. One glass of water becomes 2, becomes a new habit. One sentence becomes a paragraph, becomes a life's work. We are looking for the slight edge, the small, repeatable activity that, when compounded over time, creates a massive, undeniable separation between you and the person you used to be. This is the law. So you see, this third piece of life activity is simply the physical expression of your philosophy, powered by your attitude. When your philosophy is clear, this is who I am. This is what I do. The activity becomes part of your identity. You are no longer a person trying to get healthy. You are a healthy person, and healthy people make healthy choices. This is the work. This is the engine. This is the sowing of the seed. Every time you choose the discipline, you are sowing a seed. Every time you choose the easy way, you are sowing a different seed. And this brings us, inevitably, to the law of the harvest. Because you cannot, by universal law, engage in this much consistent, disciplined activity without something happening. You cannot sow this many seeds without a harvest. And that harvest, my friends, the thing that you reap from all this sowing, that is the fourth major piece of life. Results. And so we have done the work. We have engaged in the activity. We have left the harbor. We have applied our philosophy, our sail. We have fueled the journey with our attitude, our spirit, and we have engaged, day after day, in the disciplined, consistent, often unglamorous labor of activity. We have planted the seed. We have watered the ground. We have pulled the weeds. We have shown up in the sun and in the rain. And now we must come to terms with the fourth major piece of life, the inevitable, the unavoidable, the mathematical consequence of the first three. And that piece is results. This is the great harvest. This is the moment of truth. This is the law of sowing and reaping made manifest. This is a universal law. It is not a suggestion. It is not a metaphor. It is a law, as real and as unbreakable as the law of gravity. You cannot sow the seed of disciplined activity and reap the harvest of failure. You cannot sow the seed of neglect and complaint and reap the harvest of success. You cannot sow corn and get weeds. You cannot sow weeds and pray for corn. The harvest, the result, is the perfect, logical, and honest outcome of the seed you planted. This is one of the most liberating, and for some, one of the most terrifying concepts in all of human development. Why terrifying? Because it removes all the excuses. It removes all the scapegoats. You see, for most of the world, the results are something to be argued with. They are something to be complained about. They look at their meager harvest, and they blame the wind. They blame the soil. They blame the economy. They blame their boss. They blame their past. They shake their fist at the sky and say, "It is not fair." The amateur argues with the result. The professional, the master sailor, the designer of a life learns from the result. Here is the great secret of the fourth piece. Your results are not you. They are not your identity. They are not a final verdict on your worth. No, your results are data. They are feedback. They are the mirror. They are the report card from the universe that tells you, with perfect, cold, unbiased clarity, how you are doing. Your results are the printout. They are the physical manifestation of your unseen habits. They are the scoreboard. And if you do not like the score, you do not argue with the scoreboard. Arguing with the scoreboard is the act of a fool. No, if you do not like the score, you must, with humility and with honesty. Look at the process that led to the score. You do not like your results? You must ask yourself, what is the activity I am engaging in? Is it consistent? Is it disciplined? Or is it chaotic and lazy? What is the attitude I am bringing to that activity? Is it faith and gratitude? Or is it fear, doubt, and cynicism? And most importantly, what is the philosophy I am running? Is my sail set correctly? Or am I running on a default program of "it is not my fault"? You see, the result is just the messenger. If you do not like the message, do not shoot the messenger. Listen to the message. It is telling you exactly what you need to fix. This is the great accountability. Now, let us move from the abstract to the very concrete. Let us talk about the one area of life where the results are the clearest, the most mathematical, and the most emotionally charged. Let us talk about your financial results. This is the part of the lecture where many become uncomfortable. We have been taught by a weak philosophy that it is impolite to talk about money, or that it is not spiritual, or that it is the root of all evil. Let us dismantle that broken philosophy right now. Money is not good. Money is not evil. Money is a tool. It is a measure. It is a result. And your financial life is one of the most perfect, most honest mirrors of your philosophy, your attitude, and your activity. You cannot lie about your financial results. You cannot fake your bank account. It is a number. It is the score. So let us look at the score. What is the philosophy of the person who is always struggling? The philosophy is, I am a victim. The rich get richer. I will always be in debt. I am just not good with money. What is the attitude? It is fear. It is scarcity. It is a constant, low-grade anxiety. Every dollar that comes in is held with a clenched fist. Every bill is a source of terror. What is the activity? It is chaos. It is avoidance. It is not knowing the numbers. It is spending 110% of what you earn. It is hoping the checks will clear. It is the absence of discipline. And what is the result? The harvest? It is predictable. It is lawful. The result is debt. The result is stress. The result is a life lived in a financial prison. This is not a judgment. This is an equation. Philosophy A plus attitude B plus activity C equals result D. Now, let us look at the professional. Let us look at the person who is building a life of financial health. And financial health is not about being rich in a shallow sense. It is not about a garage full of cars. It is about freedom. It is about choice. It is about security. It is about having the ability to pursue what truly matters. What is the philosophy of the financially healthy individual? The philosophy is, I am a steward. I am a creator of value. I am responsible for my own financial future. Money is a servant, not a master. The economy is not something that happens to me. It is something I participate in. What is the attitude? It is not fear. It is respect. It is awareness. It is confidence. It is an attitude of abundance, believing that value created will be returned. And what is the activity? It is not chaos. It is discipline. It is the discipline we spoke of in the last section. It is the activity of tracking. It is the activity of planning. It is the activity of having a budget. A budget is not a prison. A budget is not a restriction. That is the weak philosophy. A budget is a plan. A budget is the activity of telling your money where to go instead of asking where it went. It is an act of intention. It is the sale for your finances. And this brings us to the most practical, powerful, financial activity you can possibly engage in. It is a philosophy that becomes an activity and guarantees a result. It is the formula for financial health. And it is simple. It is not easy, but it is simple. It is the 70-10-10-10 plan. This is the activity that creates the result of financial freedom. Let us break this down. This is the blueprint. First, you must practice the discipline of living on 70% of your income. This is the first and most difficult step. The world teaches you to live on 110%. The world teaches you to finance your desires now and pay for them later or never. That is the philosophy of servitude. The philosophy of freedom begins with this discipline. The 30% you do not spend is the first profit. It is the seed for your future. You pay yourself first. You secure this seed before you pay the world. So what do you do with the 30% seed? You divide it into 3 powerful streams. The first stream is 10% for giving or charity. Now, many will say, I cannot afford to give 10%. I am barely surviving on 100%. I am telling you, you cannot afford not to. This is the most powerful philosophical and attitudinal discipline you can practice. When you give, even when you feel you do not have enough, you are training your own mind. You are breaking the philosophy of scarcity. You are telling your own subconscious, there is more than enough. I am not a victim. I am a source. I am a conduit. This act of giving changes your attitude from one of fear to one of abundance. And that, my friends, is a millionaire's attitude. It is the attitude that attracts opportunity. It is the seed that returns to you, pressed down, shaken together, and running over. The second stream is 10% for active capital. What is this? This is your work money. This is the seed you plant actively. This is the money you use to create more. This is your entrepreneurial fund. This is the money for the books, for the seminar, for the class that teaches you a new skill. This is the money you use to build your side business. This is the money you use to invest in yourself so that your value in the marketplace increases. This 10% is your growth fund. It is the seed you are actively, intelligently working. The third stream is 10% for passive capital or savings. This is your security money. This is your fortress fund. This 10% is not for risk. This 10% is for peace of mind. This is your long-term compound interest. Sleep at night fund. This is the seed you plant in rich soil and leave alone. This is the money that builds your long-term permanent wealth. This is what protects you from the winds of disaster. Now, look at this plan. See, sure. It is a system. It is a philosophy. I am a steward. It is an attitude, abundance and respect. It is an activity, the discipline of the budget, and it guarantees a result. It guarantees the result of financial health. It guarantees the result of peace of mind. It guarantees the result of growth. It is the law. If you sow this plan, you will reap this harvest. This is how you handle the fourth piece. You do not hope for good results. You produce them by law. And this law, this cycle, it is not just for finances. This is a universal principle. What are the results of your health activities? You engaged in the activity of sleep, nutrition, and movement. What is the harvest? The harvest is not just losing weight. That is a shallow result. The harvest is energy. The harvest is clarity. The harvest is vitality. The harvest is resilience. These are the true results. And they are the fuel for all other activities. What are the results of your relationship activities? You engaged in the activity of listening. You practiced the attitude of empathy. What is the harvest? The harvest is trust. The harvest is loyalty. The harvest is connection. The harvest is a support network, a private circle of people who will be there for you when the wind blows. You see, it is all one system. Your philosophy sets the sail. Your attitude fuels the spirit. Your activity is the sowing of the seed, and your results are the harvest. They are the honest, undeniable, mathematical consequence. So, as we stand here at the end of the fourth piece, we must imagine ourselves standing in a field. The harvest is complete. The work of sowing and reaping is done. The barns are full. The bank account is healthy. The relationships are strong. The body is full of energy. We have the results. And this presents us with the final and most beautiful question of all. The harvest is in. Now what? What do you do with the harvest? You see, for many, the result is the end. They sit on their pile of grain. They have won, but they are not fulfilled. Because the harvest, the result, is not the end of the journey. The result is the raw material. It is the raw material for the fifth and final and most magnificent piece of life. The reason we do all of this, the art, the design, the joy of lifestyle. And so we arrive. We have come to the end of the harvest. We have stood in the field of our own making, and we have the results. We have traveled the entire path. We started with the blueprint, the set of the sail, our guiding philosophy. We fueled our journey with the right emotion, the right spirit, our attitude. We engaged in the relentless, daily, non-negotiable work of activity, and we have now reaped the inevitable, lawful harvest of that activity, the results. The barns are full. The body is healthy. The mind is clear. The bank account is secure. The trust has been earned. And now we are faced with the final and most profound, the question of this entire journey. We are faced with the question that separates the achiever from the artist. The question is, now what? This is the question that stops so many. They have the results, but they are not happy. They have the success, but they are not fulfilled. They have won the game, but they feel hollow inside. Why? Because they made a fatal error. They mistook the result for the prize. They thought the harvest was the point. They piled up their grain. They counted their money. They achieved their title, and they sat on top of it, alone, wondering why they still felt empty. They have the results, but they have no lifestyle. This is the fifth, the final, and the most beautiful of the 5 major pieces of life. Lifestyle. Let us be perfectly clear about what this is. We must dismantle the broken, shallow philosophy that the world has sold you. Lifestyle is not a collection of expensive things. It is not the car. It is not the house. It is not the watch. Those are just trappings. Those are just props on a stage. You can have all of them and have no lifestyle. Lifestyle is not accumulation. Lifestyle is artistry. It is the art of living well. It is the design of a life of joy. It is the conscious, intelligent, and deliberate use of the results you have created to build a life of deep, profound meaning and fulfillment. The harvest is not meant to be hoarded. The harvest is meant to be used. It is meant to be shared. It is meant to be celebrated. If the first 4 pieces were the science of achievement, this 5th piece is the art of fulfillment. And like any great art, it is not an accident. It is a design. It is the final, grand expression of your philosophy. Your philosophy, from all the way back in part 1, defined what a good life meant to you. Now, in part 5, you get to live it. So, how do we design this? What are the pillars of a true and lasting lifestyle? The first and most important pillar is the art of connection. This is where we must deeply explore the importance of relationships. This is the great human truth. This is the lesson that, if you ignore it, will render all other success meaningless. You can have all the results in the world, but if you have no one to share it with, you have nothing. Success is not an individual sport. Success, when it is not shared, is failure. A life of true lifestyle is a life rich in deep, meaningful, authentic connections. But, like everything else, this is not an accident. It is the result of a philosophy, an attitude, and an activity. What is the philosophy of a great relationship? It is not what can I get, It is what can I give? It is how can I serve? It is how can I contribute to the well-being of this other person? What is the attitude? We spoke of it. It is empathy. It is gratitude. It is the attitude of appreciation, of valuing the people in your life. And what is the activity? This is where lifestyle begins. You see, you have used your disciplines, activity, to create the result of time. You have used your disciplines to create the result of resources. Now, the lifestyle is the act of reinvesting those results into what matters. The most valuable gift you can give to a relationship, the one thing you can never get back, is your time. And not just your time, but your presence. This is the great failure of the modern achiever. They are physically in the room, but they are not there. They are at the dinner table, but their mind is on the email. They are at their child's game, but they are on their phone. They are giving their time, but not their attention. That is not lifestyle. That is a hollow shell. The lifestyle of connection is the disciplined activity of being fully present. It is the activity of putting the phone away. It is the activity of true, deep, empathetic listening. It is the activity of making the other person feel heard, seen, and valued. This is the art of living. This is the investment of your results, your time, your energy into what truly matters. And it requires consistency. Strong connections are not built in one grand gesture. They are built daily. They are built in the small, consistent activities of care. The check-in, the how are you, the unexpected favor, the shared memory, the celebration of their milestones. You have the harvest. The art of lifestyle is using that harvest to feed and nurture the connections that give your life its ultimate meaning. It also requires the skill of navigating conflict. A true lifestyle is not one that is free of problems. That is a fantasy. A true lifestyle is one where you have the philosophy and the skill to handle conflict constructively. You approach it with an attitude of empathy, not ego. You seek to understand, not to win. You focus on the issue, not the person. You use your results, your emotional stability, your clarity to create the result of trust. And trust is the bedrock of all meaningful human connection. So, the first pillar of lifestyle is to take the results of your success and invest them in the people you love. That is the art of connection. The second pillar of a great lifestyle is the art of balance. This is where we must address the other great failure of the high achiever, burnout. There is a tragic, broken philosophy in our world. It says you must sacrifice everything for your goal. You must sacrifice your health. You must sacrifice your family. You must sacrifice your peace of mind. And what is the result? The harvest. They succeed. They get the result of money, but they have lost the result of health. They get the result of a title, but they have lost the result of their relationships. They have made a fool's bargain. They have traded what is priceless for what has a price. A true lifestyle is not a life of burnout. A true lifestyle is one of sustainability. It is one of well-being. This is not about a perfect 50/50 balance every day. That is a myth. This is about proportionality. It is about a philosophy that recognizes you are a whole human being. It is the wisdom to know that there is a time for intense activity and a time for intentional rest. There is a season for sowing and a season for feasting. The lifestyle of balance is the disciplined activity of setting boundaries. This is one of the highest forms of art. A boundary is not a wall to keep people out. A boundary is a guideline to teach people how to treat you. A boundary is the activity of saying no so that your yes has power. It is the activity of saying no to the commitment that does not align with your philosophy. It is the activity of saying no to the relationship that drains your attitude. It is the activity of saying, my work for today is done. This time now belongs to my family. This time now belongs to my health. This time now belongs to me. Without this art, you are a slave to your own success. Your results will own you. The lifestyle of balance also requires self-compassion. This is the attitude of balance. You will make mistakes. You will have setbacks. You are human. The amateur is a perfectionist. The amateur believes that one mistake ruins the entire performance. They are crushed by failure. The professional, the artist of lifestyle, understands that mistakes are part of the process. They practice the attitude of self-compassion. They treat themselves with the same care and understanding they would offer a close friend. They acknowledge the effort. They forgive the mistake. They learn the lesson, philosophy, and they get back to the activity. This attitude of self-compassion is what creates the result of resilience. It is what makes the journey sustainable. This is the art of well-being. It is the integration of your physical health, your mental health, and your emotional health. It is the philosophy that you are the most important asset, and you must protect and nurture that asset first. And this brings us to the third and final pillar of lifestyle. And this is the most joyful. This is the art of enjoyment. This is the why of the entire process. What is the point of all this? What is the point of a strong philosophy, a positive attitude, a disciplined activity, and a bountiful result if you never, ever enjoy it? What is the point of the full barn if you never have the feast? What is the point of financial freedom if you never use it to experience the richness of life? What is the point of a healthy body if you never take it out to play? The art of enjoyment is the final expression of gratitude. It is the attitude of gratitude made into a physical activity. This is the philosophy that life is not just meant to be endured, it is meant to be celebrated. And this, like all the others, requires discipline. It requires the activity of scheduling joy. It is the activity of giving yourself permission to rest. In our hustle culture, rest is seen as weakness. It is seen as laziness. That is a broken philosophy. Rest is not the opposite of activity. Rest is the partner of activity. Rest is the activity that recharges your attitude. Rest is the activity that allows your body to repair so you can have the result of energy tomorrow. Rest is the activity of reflection which sharpens your philosophy. You must schedule downtime. Time with no agenda. Time to play. Time to be. Time to reflect. This is the art, and it is the activity of celebration. When you achieve a goal, when you get a result, do not just move the goalpost. Stop, pause, acknowledge the victory. Celebrate your progress, no matter how small. This activity of celebration is what fuels your attitude. It is what keeps you in the game for the long haul. It is the activity of savoring. Savoring the meal, savoring the conversation, savoring the quiet moment. This is the art of enjoyment. It is the reward. So, let us look at the masterpiece we have designed. We have used our harvest, our results to create a life. We have used our results, time, energy, resources to invest in the art of connection, building deep, meaningful relationships. We have used our results, security, clarity, to invest in the art of balance, building a life of sustainable well-being, protected by boundaries. And we have used our results, freedom, to invest in the art of enjoyment, building a life of joy, play, and profound gratitude. This is lifestyle. It is not a piece at the end of a chain. It is the integration of all 5 pieces into a harmonious, functioning, beautiful whole. Your philosophy defines your lifestyle. Your attitude colors your lifestyle. Your activity builds your lifestyle. Your results fund your lifestyle. And your lifestyle is the ultimate living, breathing expression of your philosophy, your attitude, your activity, and your results. It is the masterpiece you are painting. Every day, it is the life you have designed, not the life you have defaulted to. This is the art of living. This is the great adventure. This is the 5th major piece of life. And so we have assembled the puzzle. We have traveled the entire distance. From the first thought to the final expression, we have stood together and examined the blueprint of a well-designed life. As you begin this new year, or this new day, this new chapter, there is a unique opportunity. An opportunity to redefine what success truly means for you. We have learned tonight that setting meaningful goals is not just about creating a checklist of accomplishments. It is not about the shallow pursuit of things. It is about the profound, deeply personal, and essential work of intentionally designing a life that aligns with your deepest values, a life that resonates with your highest aspirations, a life that unlocks your true potential. We have learned that the goals you set are not just end points. They are not finish lines. They are guiding stars. They are the lighthouses that illuminate the path forward, giving you purpose in the darkness, giving you focus in the chaos, and giving you momentum in the face of resistance. We have laid out the 5 great pieces, the 5 pillars that form the foundation of this extraordinary life. We began with the foundation itself, philosophy, the way you think, the operating system, the set of your sail. We learned that you cannot change the wind, but you can, and you must, change the set of your sail. This is the source of all resilience. This is the choice to see the world not as a victim, but as a sailor. This is the discipline of building your sail from the finest materials, the best books, the best associations, and the deep, reflective work of self-awareness. From that great foundation, we built the second piece, attitude, the way you feel, the emotional fuel. We learned that our attitude is the child of our philosophy. We learned to cultivate an attitude of gratitude for the past, seeing it as our school, not our prison. We learned to cultivate an attitude of faith for the future, seeing it as our destination, not a void to be feared. And we learned to cultivate an attitude of empathy for the present, which is the heart of all true communication and connection. With our philosophy set and our attitude fueled, we move to the great separator, activity. The work, the doing, the bridge between goals and accomplishment. We learned that the world does not pay for thought or feeling. It pays for value, which is created by activity. We learned that the parent of all activity is discipline. And we learned that discipline is not punishment. It is the highest form of self-love. It is the choice between the pain of discipline, which weighs ounces, and the pain of regret, which weighs tons. We embrace the foundational activities of health, of finance, of relationships, and of the mind. From that disciplined activity, we face the inevitable, lawful consequence, results, the harvest, the great, honest mirror. We learn to respect the law of sowing and reaping. We learn that our results are not our identity, but rather, they are data. They are the scoreboard. And if we do not like the score, we do not argue with the scoreboard. We go back and change our activity, our attitude, and our philosophy. We learn the practical system of the 7-0-1-0-1-0-1-0 plan, a system that guarantees the result of financial health. And finally, with the harvest in, with the result secured, we arrived at the entire purpose of the journey, lifestyle, the art of living well. We learned that lifestyle is not a collection of things, but the artistry of using our results to create a life of meaning. We learn to invest our results into the art of connection with those we love. We learn to invest them in the art of balance, protecting our well-being with boundaries and self-compassion. And we learn to invest them in the art of enjoyment, celebrating our victories, practicing gratitude, and giving ourselves the gift of rest. These 5 pieces, philosophy, attitude, activity, results, and lifestyle, they are not separate. They are one. They are a cycle. They are a system. They are the complete blueprint. And these goals, this system, serve as a reminder that growth does not happen in great, sudden leaps and bounds. That is a myth. Growth happens in small, consistent, daily steps. It happens in the 1-page read, the 1 glass of water, the 1 sentence written, the $1 saved. The goals we have set, built upon this 5-piece foundation, challenge you. They challenge you to stretch beyond your comfort zone while remaining grounded in what truly matters. They encourage you to embrace discipline without losing sight of joy. They encourage you to seek progress without sacrificing balance. They encourage you to pursue excellence with compassion for yourself and for others. This is the great design. And as you pursue this design, as you leave this room tonight and begin the activity of building tomorrow, remember, the journey will not always be smooth. I must be honest with you. The moment you make this commitment, the moment you hoist the sail, the winds will test you. There will be setbacks. There will be distractions. There will be moments of profound doubt. There will be days when the pain of discipline feels overwhelming, and the siren song of comfort is all you can hear. Your old habits will fight you. The world's default philosophy will try to pull you back. But these challenges are not barriers. They are not signals that you should quit. They are the process. They are the opportunities to learn. They are the moments to adapt. They are the very fire that forges your philosophy, that strengthens your resolve. The activity of setting goals is not just about achieving them. It is about becoming the person who can achieve them. It is about cultivating that resilience we spoke of in the very beginning. It is about building the focus. It is about developing a sense of purpose so strong that it carries you forward, no matter what obstacles arise. So, this year, approach your goals with a spirit of curiosity and exploration. Be firm in your philosophy, but flexible in your approach. Be open to adjusting your plans as circumstances evolve. Allow yourself the grace to pivot when necessary, but remain steadfast in your core commitment to growth. Success is not about rigidly sticking to a script. It is about remaining true to your vision while navigating the complexities of life with grace and determination. And you must celebrate your progress. Do not wait until the entire bridge is built. Celebrate the first brick laid perfectly, no matter how small the step. Each step you take toward your goals is a victory. It is a testament to your dedication. It is proof that you are no longer drifting. Take time to acknowledge your efforts. At the end of the day, reflect on what you have learned. Appreciate the journey. This practice of gratitude, this activity of self-recognition, is not a luxury. It is fuel. It fuels your motivation. It fuels your attitude. And it reminds you of the progress you are making, even when the final destination still feels far away. And finally, surround yourself with people who support and inspire you. Remember the law of association. Relationships play a vital role in your success. They are your support network. They are your source of encouragement, of perspective, of accountability. Share your goals. Share your vision. Do not be a secret agent on this mission. Share your journey with friends, loved ones, or trusted allies who can cheer you on. People who will remind you of your philosophy when your attitude wavers. People who will hold you accountable to your activity. Remember, you do not have to navigate this journey alone. Success is a collective effort as much as it is an individual one. As we conclude, I want you to approach this year, this moment, with a mindset of pure possibility. The goals you have set, the design you have created, are not just aspirations. They are not just dreams. They are declarations. They are declarations of your belief in what you can achieve. They are declarations of your commitment to your own potential. Trust in your ability. Trust in your ability to rise to the challenge. Trust in your ability to learn from every single experience. Trust in your ability to become the person you were meant to be. Trust in your ability to create a life that reflects your highest potential. The coming year is a blank canvas. The rest of your life is a blank canvas. And with philosophy, with attitude, with activity, with a willingness to learn from your results, and with a clear vision for your lifestyle, you have the power to paint a masterpiece. Hold on to the knowledge that every goal is within reach when it is pursued with purpose and determination. The journey ahead is yours to shape. The possibilities are as limitless as your willingness to dream, to act, and to persevere. This is your time. This is your year. This is your year to grow. This is your year to thrive. This is your year to achieve the extraordinary. Let these 5 major pieces be your guide. Let your philosophy be your compass. Let your attitude be your fuel. Let your activity be your engine. Let your results be your feedback. And let your lifestyle be your masterpiece. Thank you. Our time together tonight is over, but your journey is just beginning. This was not a lecture for entertainment. This was a call to action, and that action starts now. I have given you the blueprint, but the most beautiful blueprint in the world is useless until the first action is taken. So, I am asking you to take 2 final actions tonight, right now. First, an action of declaration. In the comments section below this video, I want you to make your declaration. I want you to write it, make it real. Tell us which one of the 5 major pieces will be your primary focus for the next 30 days. Is it your philosophy? Will you commit to reading, to study, to building your sail? Is it your attitude? Will you commit to the disciplines of gratitude and empathy? Is it your activity? Will you commit to that one small daily discipline? Is it your results? Will you finally commit to the 70101010 plan? Is it your lifestyle? Will you commit to setting boundaries and being present? Pick one. Make your public declaration. That is your first act of accountability. And the second action is one of commitment, if you have not already done so. If you believe in this philosophy, if you are ready to be a part of a community that is doing the work, then subscribe to this channel. This is not just a button. This is your commitment. This is you saying, I am joining the journey. I am a designer, not a drifter. This is your new home. This is your new association. Make your declaration, make your commitment, and then go and begin the beautiful work of building your masterpiece. Thank you.